Tom Lee just said we see a monster move in crypto because of the Fed decision. But in today's video, we will talk about the most important levels for BitMine because there's some certain levels so we can go from $60 where we are now roughly to $76. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the game, I'm the wolf of Dubai.
If you don't know me, my name is Danny and I'm looking for X10, 20, 30 stocks, and I did that with Tesla, Nvidia, Hood, and so many others. My subscribers bought apartments or houses, and you should be subscribed not only to this channel, but also to my main channel. So my main channel and my second channel, Wolf of Dubai 2, subscribe to them both because the next purchase of a house is on me because BitMine will go absolutely insane in my personal belief. So make sure to check it out. And also, what is very important, x10daytrading.com, where we trade for you. Go on the website. This is my own product. I will trade with my team for you into your broker portfolio. Nothing to do. We will buy and sell options on daily basis because options can go up 10, 20, 50, 100% up in a very short term. And this can be very, very nicely for your long-term portfolio to have also a short-term portfolio. So if you have $10,000 or more, schedule a call with me personally and we see if we can help you as well. Now, let's talk about the most important part, okay? Tom Lee just issued a couple of days ago a video where he explained what can and what will happen to actually the most important decision that we made this week. This was the Fed decision. And the Fed just announced that they reduced the rates. So he just told the interviewer on CNBC what will happen and what he thinks, what can benefit the most with a monster move. Here we go.
If you had to put a top three together about where you think the most activity or juice could come from if the Fed were to embark on this path, I think of maybe home builders. I think of other parts of the market, maybe technology based on valuations. But in your mind, what are the places that are going to reap the most benefit from that?
Yeah, so I'm looking at September 98 and September 2024 as the playbook, because those are both years where the Fed was on extended pause and they cut in September. The number one trade is NASDAQ 100. So I think that's why the Mag 7 and the AI trade gets a lot of lift off. The second is monetary liquidity sensitivity, global central banks easing. That's Bitcoin and Ethereum, and seasonally strong. I think they could make a monster move in the next 3 months, like huge. And the third, of course, is interest rate sensitives. That's really small caps and financials, but really the first two might be the standout trades.
All right. Because you mentioned the crypto side of things, you're actively involved now. It's not just a thing that you're doing on the side. You are very much engaged in the business of crypto. You govern, you oversee crypto assets now. If we were to say Ethereum, Bitcoin, we try to bucket them into risk-averse assets or risk-on type assets.
Yeah.
Is it fair to look at them that way? We used to compare them correlation-wise to the NASDAQ 100. Is that the fair assessment for how these things trade in the coming months?
Yes. Bitcoin is particularly monetary policy liquidity sensitive. Ethereum has elements of being sensitive to liquidity, but it's also part of this AI moving onto the blockchain and Wall Street moving onto the blockchain and that whole stablecoin ChatGPT moment for crypto. So Ethereum, I think, trades almost like 1971 Wall Street, which was the dollar went off the gold standard, a lot of innovation. Ethereum essentially is a growth protocol. And that's why BitMine is so aggressively acquiring Ethereum.
So the question is obviously, what is the monster move? He believes, Fundstrat believes between 12,000 and 22,000 for Ethereum could be possible in the next couple of weeks. So I think that could be happening in end of this year where we have the biggest rallies on the stock market. So I think this is very, very interesting to see. Now, when you look into stocks, there's always this kind of levels, okay? So there's levels that when they are broken, the stock can go on a huge rally. Or those levels are like a resilient, okay, like a resistance. So if a stock goes always to this level and then sell off, that creates a resistance in the chart. And I'm not a huge chart person because I feel the news are much more important, but let's dive into a very simplified version of that and let's decide what important levels they are for BitMine right now. So if you want to look into the most important levels of BitMine, you go into the chart, and then the best way to do that is to look and bigger as possible of a time frame. Like this is now 6 months. You can see some waves that are representing the stock price development. But if you go to 3 months, you can see that we were at $4, then $160 roughly. It's showing here 135, but you can see here the 252-week high was actually at 161, and the lowest price of the last 452 weeks was actually 3.9. Okay, so you can see here $4.50, then we went to 160, then we were for a very long time at the 40 level, then we were in the very long time on the 30 level, and then we were at the 60 or even 70 level before we went down. This is where the most people were very angry with me because they said this will last forever, but I have seen that so many times already. So you can see that, we kind of balanced out here at 40, and now we are looking at 60 again. So if we're just looking into this very, very simple chart, you can actually see a couple of things. First of all, like 60 is a kind of big level because this is also where we were here. Okay, so I believe that this will be a big level that we will talk about in a second. But you can see here also 40 held quite good. Then you see that 30 held quite good, and here 40 level as well. So 40 is a big level. That's why, it was very hard for the bears to break through 40 levels, even though, we had the September and October, the weakest months, as you know, from this chart here. And also here, now it's important, can we go through the 60 level? Now we are at 60, okay? And if we're just looking at today, you see that the 60 level kind was like a resistance, and since then we lost about like 5-6%. But that's obviously also the case when they see, wow, the stock is up 10%, let's sell some shares to buy more Ethereum. Okay, very important for BitMine, obviously. Now, what is also important is the following, that obviously when you go into, let's say, a 3 month chart, you see that once broken through $60-70, you have a pretty high sky, okay? Because then we can try to reach 100 and 110 levels. And I think that the most important number for BitMine will be the 60 to 70 level. Once we break through that, we can see $100 as a next very, very fast, actually, because there's not much movement between that. So I think that this will be very, very important to see a BitMine share of $100. Now, let me know in the comments where you're watching from and how many shares you have of BitMine, because I'm extremely excited what you are doing with your BitMine. Make sure to check out extenddaytrading.com if you have $10,000 or more. Schedule a call with me, and I see you obviously tomorrow for a brand new video about BitMine.